Yo, it's me, Gazbot. With me, the
I'm the
big
big dog.
Oh boy, I'm excited! What fun news! Ta-da-ta-da-ta! It's morphin' time, everybody! I'm so excited to talk about this. Go, buddy, let's go!
Yeah, nothing more exciting than putting the nail in the coffin on that Netflix Power Ranger reboot we've been hearing about for 4 years. Love that.
So, why are we talking about this?
So yesterday, Hasbro announced that they are no longer moving forward with the reboot that was planned at Netflix and are looking for a new creative partner for Power Rangers shows or
And
show
this is after
or
relinquishing
whatever
toy rights to Playmates to license their own product that they paid to acquire. The reason I am Gazbot so what is because this announcement is a non-announcement to me. To most of us, isn't it? Was anyone really like, it's coming soon? The fact that they're shopping it to other people other than Netflix is, to me, a technicality. These were plans that were announced 4 years ago when we had a different CEO before the pandemic, and nothing has moved forward since then. I was not expecting anything. This is technically news, but sort of like, of course.
To me, this seems like the contract that was signed was a multi-year contract that ended yesterday.
I agree that yes. So this was true a while ago. It is now just publicly, officially true.
Yeah. So the main source of truth that I've been using is shout out to Screen Rant because they have a nice article about it. I'll just kind of give some snippets here. So the newest Power Ranger series was supposedly in development at Netflix. I'll believe it when I see it. But it's now been canceled.
Development just means that they could have been talking to Netflix like that. What is it going to be? Well, now it's in development. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The live action show will no longer move forward with the streamer, despite the involvement of Jenny Klein and Jonathan Entwistle. Hasbro's looking to move forward with another producer.
Right.
To me,
that means nothing. I mean, that means, hey, we're done. Is there someone else that wants to do something with this? That's all that is.
So, to me, I'm frustrated with Hasbro on multiple levels in general. Outside of this announcement, just in general, I don't understand if this was softly killed a while ago. Right. I'm not understanding why the success of Cosmic Fury and Once and Always wouldn't reinvigorate the conversation potentially.
What do you mean by success, though? What is the success?
Cosmic Fury is nominated for multiple children's awards, which is a first for Power Rangers. But that
doesn't. I mean, that's cool for them. I'm not trying to diminish that, but that doesn't mean it made money. It doesn't mean
trending in the top 10 for multiple weeks on Netflix, which is a big feat.
Okay.
Especially for a kid's show that seemingly they don't care about. Same with Once and Always. It's gotten so much more media attention over the last year for multiple reasons that I don't understand the money aspect from Hasbro, why it seems like it would make money if you gave it some money to make money. You can't expect it to make money when you're like, well, it'll be on the streaming platform and we're not going to put out any reasonable merch for it and we're never going to talk about it ever.
Okay, so there's a second part to this, which is classified as unconfirmed rumor, although it seems 100% true to me, that you might not be aware of. Because earlier today, I knew we were going to talk about this, and I watched a couple. I saw the announcement, and actually, a few people put up videos way before us. I'm like, oh, let me see what they say. And they said what we're saying. They had different, spins on it, or comparing it to the Disney deal, or whatever. But a lot of people they're mishandling it, and this is terrible. And where are we going from here? Maybe whatever. The new thing that has come out since last night, this morning. I'll share the screen here.
What are they going to do? Copyright Power Ranger content? That would mean they have to care.
No, Josh on X, who goes.
I saw some of his stuff.
Living Ranger Kate. Well, I was going to talk about it. It's unconfirmed, but like I said, it seems plausible. And he is. I don't know him or anything, but I've heard of him, and other people in the community have mentioned him. It's not like he's a nobody that no one's ever heard of. Mm-hmm. And he's been right about other things like the Lightning Collection and stuff before. He seems to be one of those people that gets leaks, sits on them until he's not going to get anybody in trouble, and then lets them out. And that seems to be what's happening here. Now, I was going to talk about it unless you're like, no, it's a rumor. I don't want to talk about it.
No, go for it. I have my own thoughts on it. Okay. So you share it, and then I'll commentate after.
I think there are more. So I think there's more that can be found, but I'm not prepared to. But this is him now, Josh Living Ranger Key on X. He's probably he was saying essentially Hasbro never really wanted Power Rangers. And so I'll just read this real quick. For Power Rangers, there's been significant confusion and disagreement on what was to do with the brand. One proposal was to cancel the live action series and switch to animation, fixing the problem about rotating casts. Not a bad idea. Research also found the core audience of 5 to 7-year-olds focus more on the color of the Rangers, so probably help if the Rangers are always the same, like how Bruce Wayne is Batman. That makes no sense. Focusing on the color means they wouldn't care who the civilian was, but whatever.
No, I think what they mean is always having a red, a blue, a yellow, a pink, a green, or a black Ranger.
Right, but they're saying how Bruce Wayne is always Batman. So if there's always a red and it's Tommy, it's Troy, it's Billy, it doesn't matter as long as they're red. That's neither here nor there. Lastly, this is the important part. Buying Power Rangers and E1 was done without checking in with the Hasbro research department. After the deals were in place, some in Hasbro spent months working through the details and trying to post facto justify the purchase decisions. So the previous CEO, whose name I forget now, did this supposedly without checking with other people. And he had like the authority to do it, but sort of like, I think this is a good idea, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And then others had to scramble to be like, oh, I guess this is what we're doing. And, after that, he got sick and died, and there was COVID. And now it's been, 4 years. And so the idea is that the person who wanted it didn't even represent the company. And now they're gone. And so they tried to kind of half-ass, okay, well, I guess we'll keep going. We'll make a show with Netflix. The wheels were sort of in motion. We don't want to look stupid. We spent all this money. We got to do something with it. But no one had a clear vision. And then multiple things came in the way. And that's why we ended up where we are, which does remind me of what happened at Disney, where they kind of just didn't really even want it in the end.
To me, I think, and this is coming from a semi-corporate working environment, even if he didn't check with R&D, it wasn't just he went out, wrote a check for $500 million and called it a day. There are other teams involved. Just because R&D isn't specifically involved doesn't mean it was a seat of your pants kind of decision, especially for that kind of cash.
Yes,
so,
but he could have, I understand it wasn't literally one person making this huge decision, but he could have been throwing his weight around. He could have been like, look, I'm making this decision. My job's on, like he could have been, that happens where like, maybe his higher ups are like, it's going to be your butt if this goes, and like, would his plan have worked? Did he have a great vision? We'll never know because of the 2 events that happened immediately after that we'll never know what he was really going to do and how well it would have went. The weird part is that it just seemed like the people after, assuming that's all true. And again, it seems really true. It seems true. And even if it's not, it's still just people at the company inherited this and were sort of like, nah, not my problem. But it's, somebody else pointed out, many people pointed this out, but I also agree. It would have made sense when everything started falling apart. Toys aren't doing so well. The reboot movie maybe isn't going to happen. Like, just keep it going the way it was going. Just it's been existing forever, just limping along, making just enough ratings that commercials pay for it, selling just enough toys. They're making some amount of money. Yeah. It's not like Disney and Saban and Hasbro were all constantly like, they might not be making as much as they wanted, but any income has got to be better than none and keep the brand alive. Yeah. And then at some point when you're ready for a reboot, do it. But I think because they thought there was these reboots coming, they're like, well, we better finish this off so there's no brand confusion and all this other stuff, which is silly because nobody knows. Every person I talk to that's like, Power Rangers is still on. They're like, what are you talking about? Like, anyone not in the fandom is like, no, it's not. Like, or they either thought it ended with Mighty Morphin or they thought it ended with Disney, or like there's been so many points when people thought it was over.
Yeah. To me, it's a thing where, kind of like you said, it seems like once the CEO died, nobody really took the project on like seriously. The thing I don't understand, to your same point, is like, it's with what we know about Hasbro. We don't know the inner workings or anything, but we know from a toy company perspective, right, you have the IP, so you don't have to pay anybody else to make toys of it.
Right.
And if you wanted to be as lazy as you can be, you could just reuse parts, and 1 or 2 new parts you need, and you just slap some new paint on it.
Yeah,
and you could
finish
sell
a couple teams. You could have a couple waves just to finish teams with like one head.
or you could they were doing this for a little bit. You could reissue things and add a different accessory or a different box or whatever. And they do it with Marvel all the time. They do it with G.I. Joe all the time. They do it with Star Wars all the time. And other than G.I. Joe, you have to pay for those licenses that you have.
Yeah.
So with this, we said it from the get-go years ago with Wave 1. The bodies are all the same, minus like a handful of characters. To make a Ranger, where's a freaking Ranger next to me that I can use? This Spider-Man body with no individual little things can be made into a Power Ranger if you slap different paint on it. Like,
well, I'll disagree about that, only because they made the choice to not make them muscular, but make them more realistic wearing.
But what if they did? What if they used that and put out a new Ranger toy?
They don't have to, because they have enough suit bodies that they created that they can still use. Your point stands. I just wanted to nitpick that Spider-Man body would not be used.
Yeah, I'm ranting. I'm trying to find a Ranger toy next to me. I don't have one that's on the
I got one right here.
Generic buck. But yeah, that's the female one.
This is a overlay right here.
Yeah, like it's not that hard. You could just do that. You could put out toy, and again, like how does a toy company not understand that the show that you're making, the only show you're making in live action, is a toy commercial that you don't put out freaking toys for it? Like the dumbest thing.
Yeah, that is. Well, and that, I think, again, that comes back from where they decided they were going to be done, but had to still do certain things. Because, like, I don't understand the E1 thing very much, except the idea with that was that was going to let them, instead of having other companies make Transformers movies, if they were going to do it themselves. I think they made that Snake Eyes movie that nobody liked, and I don't know what else they've done.
Dungeons and Dragons was one they made.
That was actually pretty good. I don't know how well it did money-wise.
Didn't make a lot of money, but people did enjoy it.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a whole. It seems like since getting that, they haven't taken advantage of it, if that was the intent. But also, we know money's a problem, so maybe they literally can't fund a movie. But like, it seemed, again, this might have been a grand plan that the previous CEO had, that like, oh, once we move these pieces into place, it's all going to make sense. Maybe it would work, maybe it wouldn't. But nobody. Did he not leave a memo, or did people just not like his idea? I don't know, but it definitely.
It just doesn't seem like rocket science to figure out a way of not like silently killing Power Rangers. Like that's.
I saw somebody. I want to say it was Dawson Rider, maybe. I might be. I watched a few videos, so I'm mixing up. I'm not trying to not give people credit. I definitely watched a Dawson Rider video. He may or may not have been the one that said this. That like when Disney was sort of done with it and like wasn't enthusiastic about having it and just sort of had it. They just let it run on autopilot, and we're like, okay, just keep making the seasons. Don't go over budget, and we'll put out the toys. And didn't really put much into it, and it was fine. It lived for X amount of years. Some really great seasons in there, and like they could have done that. They could have just let it keep going and put out the toys. Don't have to do the high end collectible toys. Just do the retail ones. But they couldn't even do that. And weirdly, this is why I think contracts come up, like where like they had to do certain things, like you said, like the time, because Cosmic Fury, like. Dino Fury was standard Power Rangers using Sentai footage, and the toys came out. And then Cosmic Fury was like this more ambitious thing. We're like, well, we're going to Netflix. We're going to make it different. And it was a different form factor. Like you could recognize it as Power Rangers, but it was the most unique season ever for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
Didn't get toys. And it's like, why would you do that at all? Like, wouldn't you stop at the last regular season instead of doing this more ambitious one, unless they already had this in place and had to do it? But we're like, well, we're not making toys for it, which again is a weird choice. But maybe they were just.
But they did. They made like 3 things to check a box.
They had the Morpher and what else?
The Megazord and a repainted cosplay set.
Yeah, I mean, yes, technically they did that, and again, maybe that was to check a box, some contract, like they have to support it with toys or whatever. But like, yeah, I don't know. It's very weird. None of this surprises me. I don't like any of it, but I'm like, the writing's been on the wall for a long time. These extra details and extra like things, like whatever. I'm the most hopeful about the fact that they're letting Playmates make toys. I don't know if I'll want those toys. I don't know if those toys will be good, but it's keeping it alive in a way that nothing else is, like, I mean, the comic, I guess. But
yeah, like the thing I don't understand, and we were talking about something similar, totally different topic, just between us, off screen, but like,
yes, I do.
Yes, but like, if the goal is to make money, you're not doing it right. you're not putting in any work and not making any money, and you're not doing any work and not making any money. So how are you failing on both accounts?
I think because nobody wants it. I think there isn't someone there that cares about, that has power, that cares. I, you know, creator perspective, Scott, toy guru Nightlick, you know that guy? He's a toy YouTuber. The main reason I know who he is, I mean, he's like fairly well known now. I don't know, you know, he's had battles with like retro blasting and stuff, like weird like arguments. I don't care about that. But he works in the toy industry and is a toy fan. I've probably mentioned him before.
Oh, is he the one with the Motu stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
He used to work for Mattel, and he was pretty much single-handedly responsible for the Masters of the Universe Classics line, which actually, let me see if I can never mind. I was going to turn my camera, but you won't see. Which was like a revamp of the original 80s line that came out in like the early to mid 2000s. Yeah, and they were like high-end collectible figures that looked like that and whatever. They're still regarded as some of the best Masters of the Universe figures ever made, even though they're years old. I have a bunch of them. They're great. The way he tells it, though, that was like a passion project. That wasn't even his job. He was like the DC multiverse brand manager, and they had He-Man, but they weren't doing anything with it. And he loved He-Man, so he almost single-handedly, in his downtime, made that happen and ran the website and did all this other stuff. And I tend to believe him because why would he lie? And he was saying when he left, it pretty much fell apart. And I remember like there was this weird thing where like the site went from being like updating every week and all stuff to like, oh, we're doing something. And like it just kind of everything fell apart really quickly.
Yeah.
Like, what happened here? And as he tells it, when he left, because it wasn't his job, he wasn't paid to do that. That was something he did. When he left, they hired someone for the job he left for. And they're like, I'm not doing all this. And then like, there was an intern who cared to do it, but they were an unpaid intern. Like they couldn't. And so it just fell apart. So, and now the reason, and then we asked, why weren't they doing this? And they said, the money we made was nothing. It wasn't nothing. To a regular person, it was probably a lot of money. But to Hasbro, whatever money they were making, $10,000 a year, $50,000 a year, whatever he was bringing in, I don't know the number, but he was like, they didn't care. It was like not worth the bother. They weren't going to hire somebody for $50,000 to make another $50,000, you know. And I think that's what's going on with Power Rangers. They made this deal. All this stuff happened. The dust is settled. This is where we are right now. They look at the sales of the toys. They look at the money they're bringing in, and it's not enough to justify the amount of people it would take to keep it going and the logistics. They'd rather take all that energy and work on G.I. Joe, Transformers, Star Wars, a new property, something that will be the same investment of time and money, but will be much more dividends. I'm not saying I agree with this, but again, from a business point of view, that could make sense where like, yeah, they're not doing a good job. And it's like, I don't think they want to. I think they just want it to be done so they don't have to worry about it because it's not justifying his existence, even though it's making some money. And to most people, myself included, any money it's bringing in is better than zero. They don't always see it that way.
So my bet is that Viacom is going to be the company that they go with for next steps because since they licensed the rights to making toys to Playmates, they're going to need, depending on the next steps, either whether it be movie or show or both,
some media.
It's going to go on a platform, and Playmates, I'm sure, is heavily involved with Viacom because they're the people who distribute Ninja Turtles, and I have a feeling they're just going to go copy and paste Ninja Turtles with everything.
I think the next media we get will be a kids' cartoon show. I definitely think that. I don't know when that will happen, but and I hope it will be good, but I worry it will be. I'm not even talking about the quality of the animation or whatever, but I think it's going to be a misfire. I think they're going to, instead of just being like, let's do an action show, like they're going to do like, oh, we have to put the spin of whatever the current, you know, whether it's like a Teen Titans Go kind of thing or whatever is popular at the moment, they're going to be able to put that on top of the Power Rangers cartoon, and it's going to be not liked by anybody.
Yeah, we rambled way longer than we thought, but really, in short, no more Netflix stuff. Maybe the other seasons are going to be pulled at a certain point. Who knows? Hopefully, they still keep the old seasons on YouTube.
There is a new video game coming out that looks like just a beat 'em up, whatever. I'm not super interested myself, but it's coming out.
Looks cool enough. Reminds me of Castle Crashers for anybody who played that back in the day.
Yeah, Mighty Morphin storyline. Castle Crashers. There you
go. But
Just so everybody knows, I'm not like depressed or angry. I'm just very tired. That's why I keep rubbing my eyes.
I'm frustrated, so I'm reinvigorated versus previous recordings. But
I also used up all my energy in the beginning. I just like burned right through all of it.
But please tell us good, bad, in between thoughts down below. We, as much as we love talking to each other about it, we love talking to everybody else and getting different perspectives and stuff too. So feel free to comment down below and we can keep the conversation going there. Please try to keep it civil, as best you can. We can have disagreements, but we don't need to just, come at each other sideways.
You can attack Hasbro. You can attack you can attack Saban. You can attack E1. You can attack any of these companies, but let's not attack people.
There we go. Until next time, I am the big dog.
Who am I? Gazbot.
So what? To the power.
Less hopeful dog.
Get out of here. No end credits. Just end it all.